everybody. I'm Alton. I'm here with my guests, Joey Brown and Dan Jewett. We're going to go over the Week 13 Thanksgiving Day slate briefly, and then we'll get into Sunday takeaways. We'll go over some injuries, maybe discuss a handful of waiver wire guys that have presented themselves this week. And as always, we'll go over the Monday Night Football game. We'll all give one or two player props that we like for the Monday night game. And that's pretty much it. So enjoy the show. What's up, fellas? How we doing this evening, and how did our Week 13 go this week in fantasy football? Go
ahead, Joey.
So it's still not. I still feel the effects of Week 11, but
yes,
we're surviving.
It's been a rough couple of weeks.
It has. There was a lot of ugly football all the way across the board. I mean, a lot of good players that didn't do nothing.
Low-scoring games. Going into yes, the highest total was 45, I think, for the day.
The only person you can't blame, ain't nobody can say nothing out there, is JSN. He got you here, even though he had a bad day, but he's allowed to have one bad day, I guess.
And Sun God going down at the beginning of the game, you can't control that either.
No. Now, I tell you what.
That's a goose egg you're going to get.
Justin Jefferson may be benchable at this point.
I think that's already been somewhat of a discussion in some areas, actually, but it's crazy to think. I mean, that's how bad J.J. McCarthy is for him for fantasy football purposes. Anyways, I don't know. It's funny you bring that up. Your thoughts on J.J. McCarthy as an NFL quarterback? What do you think, Joe? He's
a bust.
You think he's a bust, or do you think he just needs to sit back and be a backup for a little while? I mean,
I don't know how much longer you can sit him back. I mean, he's been hid for a while, and then if O'Connell can't change him, I don't know if you can. O'Connell's pretty good.
And you got the weapons are pretty good too.
He's made Sam Darnold richer. I mean, even though Darnold's looked bad last few games, but
if he would look better in college, he doesn't have the pedigree of a gunslinger. I think it was a terrible draft pick, and they're just going to have to eat it.
Right. All right. So my primetime team, I'm going to lose my matchup this week. So the game that I gained on the top dog of the league, Mr. Glenn Lowy is no longer there. We're going to be tied with the same record. He went on to win already. I'm going to need like 80 points tonight between Wandale and Diggs and the Patriots defense. I don't see that happening. So I'm gonna need a win next week, and I'm gonna need to have help. Somebody's got to beat Glenn, because if not, we finish with the same record. It goes to the guy with the total points, and he'll win the league. All he has to do is win next week, and he wins the league. My team is like 6th or 7th in total points, so I need to finish one game ahead of him in order to earn the right to play for the league title. Because if I could end up going 10-4 and not being able to compete for a league prize. So it's very possible. It's most likely going to happen, actually. I'm going to be very pessimistic about it in hopes that maybe it'll work out. But Glenn's team is rolling. I think it's his league. Did a great job at the New York draft, and kudos to him. But
on the bright side, that win that you had against him is really big, or you could be 2 games out right now with 1 to go. So you still got a chance of hope,
Like you guys, that was the only one of my contending teams that had a bad week. I had Woody Mox. He left the game, come back. He still had he got enough volume to be productive, but he wasn't. And Chase Brown, he got a little ding from some RJP Ryan's usage. Just a disappointing all around. I played Bo Nix. I was expecting a 30 plus point game against Washington, and he gave us 21. Underwhelming from the quarterback. Brian Thomas Jr. back. I was like, I'm not going to leave him on the bench. I'm going to play him. He's another one, just like Justin Jefferson. What that, like 2 stud wide receivers giving us 2 catches for 27 yards. Like, what's going on? Brian Thomas
Myers is putting him out of a job, out of the number 1 job, I should say.
The Trevor Lawrence problem is real.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, because it seemed like he needed Mac. He was on fire with Mac Jones. Like Mac just peppered him, and it was a concern going in. But you would like to think that after the rookie season he had, that the talent would trump that. But and he's definitely been way disappointing. That you back end first round pick and he's borderline not even startable right now. Like,
I wonder what kind of discounts you'll get on Thomas. He's interesting 0.6. I mean, based on where he could go, he could be wide receiver 3 or 4 flex.
I think he probably falls to the 3rd or 4th round. No, that would be my right where I'd say he might.
I was going to say 4 or 5.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess you start looking right now. I guess to see what players like. Justin Jefferson may be a 2nd round pick depending on who's quarterback in there. I mean, if he gets a good quarterback, he'll probably back in the 1st or early 2nd. But it's never too early to start looking ahead.
No, it's not. There's some people I've seen out there that have done discussed 2026 rankings already. But yeah, I usually start to kind of take a peek at that as we get into the fantasy playoffs. I'll start looking ahead and thinking about, projecting in my mind where I think guys will start going who might present themselves as really good values. Like you said, Joe, Brian Thomas probably drops. Thinking about guys from last year going into this year, like guys like Jalen Waddle, he was another one that fell. That is 6th, 7th round, and he's producing starter caliber numbers pretty consistently. So I just try to pay attention to which guys I think might stick out as far as movement goes.
Right.
And in the other direction too, there's going to be guys that are going to cost us a lot more now, and are we going to be willing to pay the price for where they're going? So
I know people will kill you when you say this, but JSN's going to go round 1. But after what kind of season he's had, I mean, rightfully so. But what kind of drop off will he have? He could have a drop off. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, possible. He might not be like my guy, like Drake London. He might be round 2 now. Depends on who's quarterbacking there. I don't think Pence is the answer either. Well, it's like he's a little bit better than McCarthy, but I'm not too fond of him either.
Nice. All right. So we're going to jump into, we'll briefly discuss the Thanksgiving slate. We all put together a team for the Turkey Day Bonanza. They came in 54th place, obviously not good enough to cash, only paid top 35 to cash, but still 54th out of, what was there, 650 entries?
650.
54th is still pretty good. We put that team together as a group, me, you, Dan, Josh, and Steve. We had that show last week on Tuesday night, I believe, and we put together that team, came in 54th. We'll start with the Green Bay Detroit game. We already mentioned Emmanuel St. Brown left that game real early. He left us with a donut in our fantasy lineups in the process. I kind of was fading him in this game. He was pretty much held in check in week 1 when they played Green Bay. I know that was in Green Bay, different circumstances, but still Green Bay's strength is their ability to get after the quarterback and also their ability to take away your number 1 pass catching option. And so that's kind of why I was down on St. Brown. I thought he was definitely give us a floor game as opposed to a ceiling game. Anyways, but he got hurt. It led to more production for Isaac Tesla. This could be a possible free agent waiver wire pickup if he's available. I would certainly put in a bid for him. Depending on how much you have left and your need for wide receiver depth, maybe you want to get more aggressive on the FAAB bid, but definitely somebody worth putting in for. We don't know how long. We have a timetable on his injury, Dan. There is no time.
They said 1 to 2 weeks earlier today.
Yeah, so either way, I think it's worth an ad. Obviously, Jamison Williams, you can expect him to continue producing. He gave us a big game, 26.5 fantasy points, I believe. I got to look at the line, see what the actual line was. 7 catches, 144 yards, and a touchdown. I did have 1 rush, but it was for -5 yards, so that didn't help us. But nonetheless, 26.9 fantasy points. Jahmyr Gibbs kind of gave us a Jahmyr Gibbs floor game as well. 20 carries, 68 yards, 3 catches, 18 yards. Green Bay's a physical defense. This kind of plays more into like a Montgomery. Without the touchdown, I suppose Montgomery gives us a crappy game as well, but he's the one who found the end zone. He helped me hit on a four-leg touchdown parlay on the day. I had him as one of them, so thank you, David Montgomery, for that. 12.8 fantasy points. So, him and Gibbs basically canceled each other out. They gave us a low floor game, 12.8 and 11.6 points. Tesla did get in the end zone, 2 catches, 35 yards, and a touchdown. We mentioned him already with Laporta and now St. Brown out. I would expect Tesla to be involved in this passing game. And on the Green Bay side, Christian Watson came up with a big play, four catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs looked pretty good in his first game back, 83 yards on 17 carries. He didn't get pay dirt, but 10.1 fantasy points just on the ground, basically. That's pretty good. So it's encouraging going forward. I think he's healthy. It didn't look like he was re-injured at all. So going forward, probably pretty confident in Josh Jacobs giving us RB1 numbers. Jordan Love. Joey, you called this one, man. Jordan Love, 4 passing touchdowns. Dontavian Wicks out of nowhere. 6 catches, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Nobody owned him in the Turkey Day Bonanza. Not one team rostered him, and it probably would have made the difference. You're talking about 28 points that nobody else had. That certainly would have helped. But yeah, one to Dubs, 1 to Watson, 2 to Wicks. So big game from Jordan Love. They end up beating Detroit 31-24. We'll jump over to the Kansas City-Dallas game. Dan, you want to give out your thoughts on the Kansas City-Dallas game?
Well, we thought that'd be the highest scoring game of the day for Thursday, and it didn't let down, I thought. It's just crazy. We talked about it, I think, on our podcast that we did building our team. Both teams back were against the wall and who to come out. And I really thought it was going to be Kansas City myself. But Dallas was able to pull it out. I thought Dak looked really good. He ended up with over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. We're back to we discussed, who would be more owned between Lamb and Pickens in the Thursday Turkey Bowl. And we all kind of thought Pickens would. And I think it was about 55% to 40% or something along the lines of that CeeDee Lamb was the number 1 owned receiver and rightfully so, going for 7 for 112 and a touchdown. Pickens still beat him in targets 13-9. I feel like when Dak's under pressure, he's looking more for Pickens than Lamb, but obviously you can't go wrong with either one of those guys right now between CeeDee and Pickens. Ferguson had 8 points, 5 for 36 as a tight end. And then Javonte saved his day with that receiving touchdown on the Dallas side. Something I found really interesting on the Kansas City side, I mean, Mahomes Mahomes had a great game, 4 touchdowns, and that's who we played, and that's who the majority of the Turkey Bowl rosters played. But I was interested in seeing how the run game would be. Bashard Smith, I didn't look at the snaps. I think he maybe played 2 snaps that I saw. Pacheco only got 3 carries, so it was still Kareem Hunt. It wasn't real effective with just 58 on the ground. He did have 1 long screen pass. But Rashee Rice was the star, 12 more targets, 8 for 92 and 2. We knew against that defense that the slot was going to eat, and it didn't let us down there. Rashee Rice continues to be what I feel like if you spend a 5th or 6th rounder in the prime time, I think it's going to pay off here weeks, 15, 16, 17 when we're in these shootouts. Hopefully you're in the shootouts with them. And then Xavier Worthy, we were kind of tossing his name back and forth. He went 4 for 61, so 10 points, not too hateful. Still doesn't look right. Still looks like he's gimpy a little bit. Travis Kelce had 5 for 45 and a touch. So he was, I think he was the highest scoring tight end on Thursday. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
He also helped me in that 4-leg touchdown parlay. He was one of them.
But yeah, overall, a nice game for fantasy stats for all the receivers, for both sets of receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks. And this game didn't let us down. And I'm really surprised Dallas won. And in Kansas City, I don't think they can lose another game. And even if they win out, it's going to be tough for them to make the playoffs, I think.
I'll tell you a name that I like, on the waiver wire, especially, like Joe was talking about spending you FAAB. I mean, most of all leagues shuts it off after this week 14 coming up. Malik Davis, if Javonte goes down, he could be really good. He looked really good the other day for Dallas. He's your backup. Whoever's got Javonte might have to go out and get him.
He did have a nice rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
And he's out there too.
He is out there. Good call, Joe.
Especially in that offense. Think about week 14 for people. Dallas and Detroit starts it off. I mean, that's going to be a high scoring game. So that's going to get the playoff. The week 14 for league title starts off pretty good for week 14.
You got Detroit, Minnesota, the Chargers, and Washington in the next 4 weeks.
One thing about that Thursday game, Joey, just not to go back to Detroit, but obviously I guess I shouldn't say they have a short week. They played on Thursday. Just gonna be really interesting where Goff's going with those passes, missing both tight ends and his number 1 receiver. Could Jahmyr Gibbs have 20 catches Thursday against the Cowboys? And who's going to get those slot catches?
Yeah, it's a good point.
I suppose so. I mean, Montgomery may even be more involved this time.
You could maybe see Jahmyr Gibbs get a few or less rushing attempts, and Montgomery get more involved in the rushing game, and then Gibbs have 7 to 11 or 12 targets or so. Like you said, Dan, 20 catches.
Dallas looks good up front the last couple of weeks with these new additions. So they've been
the defense definitely looks like they can stop the run. That's one thing I've noticed. They're pretty good at stopping the run in the last couple of weeks.
Might be Ladder and Gibbs's catches on Thursday night. Ladder them as high as they'll go.
Nice. All right, Cincinnati Baltimore game. Joe, we'll go to you on this one. Your thoughts on this game?
I thought Burrow looked pretty good this game, and the offense looked better, of course. Jamar Chase was the man. Chase Brown was good, but now he got to eat into a little bit with Samaje Perine. He cut into him just a little bit, and I wouldn't be alarmed, but he is involved heavily. But Bengals look pretty good. Like we was talking the other day, I'm telling you, Lamar Jackson don't look right. I don't know what's wrong with him. He ain't played good in a while. I don't know if that injury is still lingering with him, but the Bengals, they could get hot down the stretch. They could. I don't know if they can get it. I don't know if they can win a division or not, but it's going to be close. They have to beat Baltimore
every year.
Yeah,
finish strong and barely miss out.
Yeah, but Baltimore's kind of concerning, ain't they? I mean, Justice Hill's going to be out 3 or 4 more weeks. May even go to IR. Keaton Mitchell will be a good add.
I say this the third, fourth week in a row to Josh sitting down here. Why do they not use Keaton Mitchell more? I mean, the Bengals on the outside runs getting eaten up, and he got 2 carries. And he scored on one. I think it was like 15 yards or something. He looks explosive. They need to utilize him more.
Yeah,
he is like Devon A-Chain light, kind of.
They don't even play him on third. He's not a receiving back or third down back. They keep playing that Rashid Ali in that third down role with Hill out.
And Zay Flowers looked bad too. I mean, 2 catches for 6 yards on 7 targets.
As far as fantasy football goes, man, I'm starting to put him on my disappointing list. And, you know, I believe in him as a football player. And I just the nature of the Baltimore Ravens offense and the way that they spread the ball around. And like you said, Joe Lamar's not playing great. You know, he's more of an underneath possession type of receiver than he is a big play guy. So, and we know that those type of guys shrink around the red zone as well. So, you know, they got to score from like 20 to 40 yards out, kind of with, you know, and you know, those plays don't happen all that often. So, I mean, what's his season high in touchdowns? I think it's 4, right?
Yeah.
He got 5. He had 5 last year. No, he had 5 his rookie year, 4 last year. He's only got 1 receiving touchdown this year. So, you know.
He did have a long one called back in that game Thursday on a really ticky-tack offensive pass.
He's definitely pretty volatile. We were talking earlier, maybe some guys, I would think you could see Zay Flowers drop some in 2026 drafts. No more fourth round.
Maybe even Lamar fall back a few rounds. That could be you know. But I tell you, they did utilize the Likely and Andrews both was involved in that game.
Yep. Oh, that Likely fumble at the end zone, man. Come on. That would have been another hit for me. That would have put us in the cash, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that also would have gotten our Turkey Day teams a cash. I think it would have, because anytime Likely did anything, that team was moving up like 10, 15 spots. Not too many people owned Likely. I think it was like
15 maybe or 20.
Yeah, I was going to say 18. I think it was 18, but 18 out of 650. Yeah, very, very low owned.
Yeah, I think the people are awarded who picked up Joe Burrow. I think he can be definitely a difference maker for a lot of teams down the stretch. These few weeks that added him.
The one league I played in where there was an IR slot, I kept him on IR all year, and I played him this week. So
that's good.
I held on to him. But if there was no IR spots, I dropped them in most cases and picked up either Sam Donald or Jackson Dart. But for some reason, I didn't go for Stafford as much of a Stafford believer I am. But
we got Buffalo this week, and it should be another high-scoring game.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. All right. So you guys have anything else to add? Actually, Dan, I got a question for you. Yoshi, with T, you mentioned T. Higgins still in concussion protocol. Does that? I mean, Yoshi Voss only had 1 catch for 29 yards last week, but it was for a touchdown. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on him? How do you feel about him as a plug-in play?
He's really hit or miss. It just depends. Like, Joe gets in these tight end moods, and we have 4 tight ends that can score. We're like a worse version of the Rams. So when you got Gesicki had 3 or 4 targets. Tanner Hudson scored. Drew Sample had a couple catches, I think.
He was targeted early. Sample was targeted early on, yeah.
Yeah, Yoshi's, I mean, you could do worse, but that's a tough – you could also end up with a 0 if you start Yoshi.
I tell you, the box score is not pretty, but Tinsley had 9 targets. He had 9 targets.
if you remember back to the preseason, like he wasn't even supposed to make the team, and he just showed up in preseason.
Yeah.
And every time he gets a chance, he's making plays. I definitely think there's something there to him. I just don't know that he gets enough playing time. But 9 targets, obviously, he did.
Yeah. Of course, that would go down, if Higgins is back, but I don't think he'll play this week. Maybe not.
He didn't practice. He's still concussion protocol as of today.
That looked pretty rough, that one he got.
I haven't been able to find any information on it. They haven't talked about it at all.
Nice. We're going to hit we see Jamie in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. Albert is asking us if we ended up going with Christian Watson. We did. The one entry I put in too, I was going back and forth between Watson and Chase Brown. I ended up sticking with Watson myself. He ended up giving us that one long, nice touchdown. So
talking about guys moving up, I think Christian Watson is soaring next year. He might be a 4th or 5th rounder, maybe higher.
He's looking.
He does look good. He does look good. Yeah. And Bob Hope 123, appreciate you tuning in. He wants to know, keep Cleveland or Rams defense.
Keep Cleveland this week. They got Tennessee at home.
And Myles Garrett's going to break that record. Just keep playing him.
There you go. Sounds like it's going to be Cleveland.
At least this week.
Yeah.
They're my only defense on a couple NFFC teams, and I'm riding with them all year. I don't care who they play.
There you go. There you go. The Rams have a pretty good defense as well. But, Joe, like you guys said, man, you're going against Tennessee this week. You have to at least keep Cleveland for another week.
They're home.
If you're going to drop the Rams and you need to finalize your playoff roster and you say you can't, I don't know if you can make moves there in the playoffs or not, but if you can't and you want to carry 2 defenses, then you're going to have to find a player to drop if you want to keep 2 defenses. But I think I'm with Joey and Dan here. I side with the Cleveland defense rest of the season over the Rams. So appreciate your question, Bob. Anybody else got any questions that's listening, just drop them in the chat. We'll eventually get to them if we don't get them right away.
Hit us up on X and we'll answer them.
There you go. All our X handles are right there underneath our beautiful vases. Nice.
I said we have to give you a shout out too for placing in the.
I wasn't trying to make it about me, but I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, I came in 21st with my own entry. I went back and forth between the Bengals kicker and the Packers kicker, and I picked the Packers kicker. If I picked the Bengals kicker, I would have won on that last field goal. I would have won the entire contest. So I was a little bit sick, even though I cashed.
Kickers indeed was the difference in that contest.
I was a little bit sick about it because the opportunity was there for the taking, and I just missed.
Bengals was probably the highest scoring defense in it, wasn't it?
Kicker Andy.
God.
Oh, we got another question from Bob. What we got here? Pitts, Strange, or Juwan PPR? Who to pick? Thanks. So I guess we're picking one of these.
Strange.
I love Juwan Johnson, but I think Vele's starting to take his targets. I think I go Strange as well.
Yeah, I think I stick with Strange as well.
But I will say this:
Paco Washington went down, right? So
I will say this though.
Go ahead, Joe.
If London comes back, but Pitts against Seattle, I know it's stupid, but Seattle gives up a lot of points a lot of yards to tight ends. I know it's Pitts, but Strange, I like Strange probably because Colts and Jaguars could be a high scoring game. It could be I don't know what the over under is for that game, but that could be a good game.
Yep,
for division lead, right?
Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence, despite being a terrible NFL quarterback, has played good enough to put up fantasy points. So you could be onto something, Joe. It could be a shootout. Danny Dimes and Jonathan Taylor hold up their end of the bargain. I mean, I've seen them win a lot of grinded out low scoring games too, because their defense is pretty good. Jacksonville at times, their defense looks real good, especially that pass defense. But yeah, playing for the division, both teams can score in bunches. Definitely, I would go with Strange. I think Strange is very good when he gets the opportunity to get the volume, and the opportunity is definitely there with Parker Washington being injured, Brian Thomas having a lost season, and he's been a bit of a boost since he's come back from injury for that offense. So yeah, like in Brenton Strange.
Well, and this is really no fluke. I think Strange was pretty good last year toward the end of the year too, if I can remember right. He's done this before. He's played pretty good that last year too. So
Hawkinson had a good game against the Seahawks as well.
Absolutely. Yep. I think I know that Atlanta's got Seattle. I'm pretty sure. Pitts is interesting play, but I don't know if you trust Kirk Cousins.
We got a Thursday night question. Dallas versus Detroit going to be fantasy fireworks?
Should be.
It should be. We need one of those Thursday night games where we get like 85 points from three guys.
I don't have none of them either on my
page, I feel like we haven't had one of those since the beginning of the year. There was a couple of good Thursday night games at the beginning of the year, and then they disappeared from us. So, yeah. All right, so we're going to jump over to some of our Sunday takeaways. I'll go first. I'm going to focus in on the San Francisco 49ers offense. I noticed George Kittle gave us a pretty good floor on only 4 catches for 67 yards. Since he's come back, he's been great. I know 10.7 points this week. I mean, it was against Cleveland at Cleveland. So he was facing a tough defense and still managed to give us double digits fantasy points. Since week 10, he's been on a tear. He's got 3 touchdowns. He gave us a 23.4 performance in week 10, a 24.7 performance in week 11. And he had in week 12, had 10 targets against Carolina, 6 catches for 78 yards. Also a great 13.8 PPR. Great floor right there. Hasn't found the end zone in 2 weeks. They got Tennessee this week, week 15. Oh, no, they're on a bye week. They're on a bye this week. Sorry about that. But then in week 15, they got Tennessee. Week 16 at Indy. Week 17 at home against Chicago. So pretty good schedule going forward down the stretch. George Kittle and Juwan Jennings is another guy I want to bring up. I believe these are the 2 most consistent pass catches they have right now. Juwan Jennings has 4 touchdowns in the last 5 games. He's had at least 6 targets, and all of them he's given us 14.1, 18.1, a 9.4 at Arizona, then back on track with a 15.1 in week 12 against Carolina. And then this past week against Cleveland, he gave us 13.9. I think Ricky Pearsall isn't, I don't know. There's just something not right with him. I don't know if it's because of how late in the season, how much football he's missed, and how late in the season he's come back, and he hasn't really gotten into the flow of the offense yet. But for me, it's Christian McCaffrey, of course, and then Juwan Jennings and George Kittle going forward. As long as Brock Purdy is the quarterback, and he's done all right. He hasn't been great, but he's made. I think he's made the offense more condensed, and that's what we like for fantasy football. We want to be able to predict who's getting these targets, and when it was Mac Jones at quarterback, we know that is the wide receiver. I can't. Kendrick Bourne would get involved, and Kittle was injured, so it was, missing games or playing injured. So Tonjes, it was just more spread out, the offense. I think under Purdy, it's more condensed and, easier to read. So I'm liking Jennings. I'm liking Kittle going forward. On the Cleveland side of the ball, Quinshon Judkins had a pretty decent game, 91 yards and a 2-point conversion, chipped in 3 catches. So, he got us a 16-point game. Njoku, pretty disappointing. He cleared. He wasn't on the injury report at all this week for the first time in like a couple of weeks, and he gave us kind of nothing. Harold Fannin is the one who found the end zone. So, again, when there's two viable tight ends on a team and they're both highly involved, it's kind of hard to predict which one's going to hit week in and week out. Fannin, I believe, has been a little bit more consistent, even though Njoku does give us those occasional spike weeks. I'm playing Fannin if I have to, and I'm probably fading Njoku going forward. He's just too inconsistent for me to trust at this point in the season. So that's what I got. So pretty much, I'll kick it over to you, Dan. What do you got for a key takeaway from Sunday's game?
I was actually going to talk a little bit about the Black Friday game. I thought it was interesting.
All right, we could do that too.
The first place Chicago Bears, like we all predicted, right? Like
I thought they would do good. I thought they would do good. I'm not going to lie. I to say first place is I would be lying, but
yeah, if you bet that, then you're a rich man. But yeah, as far as NFL goes, they just keep finding ways to win games. Fantasy wise, passing the passing game wasn't real exciting with Cole Kmet getting the only touchdown. But boy, Swift looked good, but Monangai looked better. I mean, they both look good, and I think right now you can justify playing both of them. But it was a pretty even split. Monangai got a few more carries. I think Swift was on the field a little bit more, but both got 100 yards, both got a touchdown, and just looked great. And then on the other side of the ball, going the wrong direction is you talk about Lamar Jackson. Like, to me, Jalen Hurts just does not look right. I don't know what's going on with him. The squeaky wheel, A.J. Brown ended up, 10 catches, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
He looked good doing it, too. He looked pretty good.
Couldn't get Devonta Smith the ball. Only had 48 yards. Goddard had a couple catches. Barkley couldn't get running. And when they can't get Barkley running, the team is just struggling. And I would be nervous as I was an Eagles fan. I know they won it all last year, and they'll probably put it back together. But as it stands right now, Jalen Hurts is tough. And we have – me and Josh have him on that team we were talking about earlier off the air on our primetime team that's going to make the postseason with Stafford. And it's not even a talk anymore. It's going to be Stafford every week. Hurts saved it at the end, but at halftime he had like 1.8 points, I think, something like that. It was really scary, but overall, man, one of my best friends is a Bears fan, and he thinks they're winning the damn Super Bowl. I try to bring him back to earth, but I'm excited for him. As a Bengals fan who doesn't have a lot of success, I know what he goes through. The Bears haven't been that great. Then it's kind of fun to watch them.
Yeah. So if I had to pick a favorite team from that division, for me, it has always been the Bears. Even though they gave us a good beating in Super Bowl 20. But I like the Bears. It's mainly because I've always hated the Packers, and the Lions are the Lions. I mean, and Minnesota, other than when they had Randy Moss, I really wasn't that big of a fan of Minnesota. Like, for some reason, I just always I always think when I think of Boston, I think of Chicago being similar because they went like forever without a World Series, just like the Red Sox, and their hockey team went quite some time without a Stanley Cup, and then they got one right around the same time the Bruins got one. So I just view them as very similar. So I root. It's like a similarity there. So like a camaraderie. Like our fans are similar. So I've always rooted for Chicago Bears from that division. So it's good to see that they're winning. I was thinking playoffs were a possibility, but to say I thought they were going to win that division's tough, man. If you weren't picking Green Bay or Detroit, then then I mean, you have the almanac from Back to the Future with you or something. But yeah,
Odunze was quiet too again, but that was good pass defense they was up against.
Odunze seems to be taking some time to get acclimated to the pro game, the pro level, the speed. I think the physicality of the defenders is giving him some problems, and the fact that Chicago is kind of a spread it around offense. They don't really have a true alpha one. I mean, if you had to put a finger on one, I would say it's VJ Moore. I feel like he gets the most manufactured touches, I suppose we could use for a term. Design plays, stuff like that. I think Odunze is just a read. He's just a look at, going when Caleb Williams is going through his reads. He's not necessarily an alpha. They're very game plan specific. The defense, depending on if the defense is a play in zone or man, that's where they get involved. Ben Johnson's pretty good at scheming up against figuring out what the weaknesses are, and he's going to hit that as opposed to just peppering his number one targets. So that I think that's contributed a little bit to Odunze's, I don't want to say downfall, but his inconsistency this year as a wide receiver in fantasy football. Are we holding on to Luther Burden? What are you guys' thoughts on that? Are we still stashing Luther Burden?
You need to.
I think he's a good stash.
All right, I like that call too. All right, I think that's pretty much all I got for questions. Yeah, Joe, why don't you give us one of your key takeaways?
Let's piggyback to Dan from last week. So Pat Bryant looked pretty good coming out off the bye. I mean, he played. He had 7 targets. He had more route runs and everything than Troy Franklin. It may just been game script, but talk about Luther Burden. You want to have Pat Bryant for down the stretch too. I believe. I really do. Bo Nix, he still had 321 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and 1 INT. But he didn't run a whole lot. He had 16 yards. But finally seeing Cortland Sutton back in the box score. He played good. He had a good game. He had 5 for 62 and a touchdown on 6 targets. But I think Dan was right talking about Pat Bryant. He's going to be – he's really
part
good.
of the offense, right? That's another good stash. Especially if you're a Bo Nix owner and you've been riding that roller coaster all year. You may as well give yourself a little bit of variance in the shootout if you get into a shootout with Bo Nix into the NFFC tournament. Pat Bryant could be a pretty good flex play week to week based on a matchup. If you run into an injury somewhere and he gets moved up the totem pole just by chance and you stack him in there with Bo Nix, it could be a unique little stack for that specific week, and it could pay off. He could have a big game. So
because your shootout's kind of like the Turkey Day. I mean, really, like Dante Wicks thing.
Well, the thing is, you get into the shootout and you're going against teams in other leagues, so you're likely sharing a lot of your superstar players. So, if you have a bad first week and you fall down in the standings and you take a look at the overall standings and you see that a lot of teams ahead of you are sharing the same players, then you got to get creative to make up some ground. Because if you just put in the same similar lineup as that team's going to have that edge on you all the way through. So you got to find ways to make up ground. And Pat Bryant, some of these deeper guys that you got to roll the dice with. Pat Bryant's a good one to bet on certain weeks. Maybe how's the playoff schedule look? Let's take a quick peek at that. We got Vegas. They got Vegas in week 14. Then they got Green Bay at home, Jacksonville at home, and then at KC. So, at KC could be a shootout. Jacksonville, that could also be, because it's at home, that could be a high-scoring game. And, Green Bay's got a tough defense. So,
and the good thing about it is he's going to draw the least coverage guy too, right? I mean, Cortland Sutton's going to draw the attention.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
even in these hard games.
And Evan Ingram, 6 catches for 79 yards. A little bit of a
he looked good.
Is this something that we can count on going forward? I mean, he's got 19 targets the last 3 weeks. He's hit 5 targets. He hasn't done much with them. Last week against KC, he had 4 catches for 33 yards. The week before that, 2 catches for 12 yards. The week before that, he didn't have any catches against Houston. So, I don't know if I'm starting him. I don't know if I can believe this going forward. Might just be an outlier type of game. But like you said, Joe, he did look good. I know one of my takes on Evan Ingram is, unless he's 100% fully healthy and putting together a couple of games in a row, he's not at his peak. So that's when the only time I've ever trusted him as a fantasy football asset. That and the time he became the default number 2 wide receiver in Jacksonville when Christian Kirk went down. But those were are the only instances when he's getting, he's guaranteed to get the volume, or he's fully healthy. Anything that hinders his game makes him inconsistent. So I'm not in on it yet. I don't know if I'm buying the 14-point possibility going forward, but. Any thoughts on the other side, the Washington Redskins? Not Redskins. I can't say that. I shouldn't be saying that. Washington Commanders. Showing my age. I do it too, but I hate it that I do it on the podcast, but I did. It is what it is.
Ertz looked good. McLaurin looked good to be back.
Terry McLaurin back. I didn't start him. At the one share that I have, I did not start him. My wide receivers were pretty good on that team. I mean, I might start him going forward. I was afraid to put him in first week back, despite he hadn't really shown us anything beforehand anyway. So I definitely wasn't trusting him. But Zach Ertz, 10 catches, 106 yards, seemed to have benefited from Terry McLaurin's return. What does this mean for Debo? What are you guys' thoughts on that? I mean, he did have 5 catches for 64 yards, didn't find the end zone. So, I mean, he's still got a pretty good volume, 7 targets.
I think we need to see Jaden come back before we make decisions on who's going to get all the targets.
Yeah, because he played with McLaurin last year. He didn't really play with Debo. It's his first year there, right?
He did like Ertz. He liked Ertz a lot.
Yes. Yeah. Ertz and McLaurin for sure.
And what about Chris Rodriguez? Are you guys in on maybe RB2 with him or flexing him if necessary?
He's the best running back they got. I'm not super excited about it, but I mean, you could do a lot worse for your RB2, especially going into the bye weeks next week. We got 4 teams on bye.
I think Rodriguez is more of a game. This game was a little bit closer. I think if it was them playing from behind, I think McNichols would be involved more. But just from a game script point for Rodriguez, I believe.
All right, good.
Now, he was
I like that, Joe. I like that. Those are great points.
We all agree that Bill was not the answer.
Yeah, it's all that hype, that August hype that he got.
He was going like the 7th, 8th round by the time Vegas drafts were going. I mean, it was insane.
I was totally out on him when he was basically free, and then. I didn't realize, I didn't know his full background, that where he sat out a season or whatever. And I knew that his actual talent was better than 7th round, but, I was reading him as a 7th round pick, and they didn't move Brian Robinson at the time. So my take was that clearly tells us that they're good. They're going with Brian Robinson unless they, make a move for somebody between now and at the end of the season or the start of the season. So I really wasn't that big on Krosky Merritt throughout draft season, but and then when he steamed up, I think I got one share of him, and it wasn't in the NFFC leagues. It was in like a different league. I don't know if it was a charity league or whatever. I think we took, or it might have been the team I split with Steve on the FFPC. We took him in like the 9th round or something. And that obviously turned out to be a terrible pick. But I'm kind of glad that I faded him early on because at least I didn't have those free shares to get excited about. You know what I mean? And then disappointed. So, yeah, that worked out good. I want to discuss the Jets wide receivers situation. John Mechie and Adonai Mitchell last 2 weeks, I should say. John Mechie gave us productive weeks. And this past week, it was Adonai Mitchell, 8 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown, 24.2 fantasy points. John Mechie, only 4 catches, 19 yards. He was involved as well, though, but production-wise, it went to Adonai this week. Mechie, over the past 3 weeks, has earned 18 targets, 13 catches, 2 touchdowns, and about 129 yards receiving. Gave us 2 double-digit scoring weeks, 13.5 against New England, 18.5 at Baltimore, only 5.7 this week. They have a pretty good schedule going forward up until week 17. So this week they got Miami at home, week 15 at Jacksonville, week 16 at New Orleans, and then week 17 they face New England at home. So that's really the only tough matchup I see them having going forward. So between John Mechie and Adonai Mitchell and Tyrod Taylor being at quarterback and not Justin Fields. Now, Tyrod Taylor is not the best, but I think he's made enough improvement that we can consider flexing these guys if necessary. If we got guys on bye week or we were in a jam with injuries and once a lot of leagues, once playoff starts, you can't make free agent moves. So you got to kind of roll with what you got. So are you guys interested in stashing or potentially using either one of these pass catches? Your thoughts, Joe?
They're viable. I mean, at this point in the stage, you have to have people who's getting targets, getting looks. Tyrod's giving them a better opportunity. So, I think you can use – just hope you get the right one right. I don't think which one's going to be consistent. But, yeah, they're both viable, I think.
I thought AD looked really good, honestly. Mechie had a couple drops. Just throwing that in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Both of these guys have never really held down a role consistently. So, we don't know if this obviously there's going to be some hiccups along the way, but like you guys said, like I just mentioned, I don't know if we're going to see full consistency from them. Joe, you said it too. You got to pick the right one. But the matchups are interesting going forward. They have to pass the ball somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. And like we talked about, Joe, fantasy is game script. Jets are going to probably be behind, so they're going to throw the ball. If they're going to use Breece Hall too out of the passing game, but that's the beauty of football. Fantasy. Even teams with bad records like the Giants, they've got good players. The Jets has got good players that you can use. I mean, that's fantasy.
Garbage point, yeah. Garbage points count. They're the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the best situation. That's just like, Carolina was interesting. They're a good team, decent team for their record, but we'll have to talk about them probably too. Finally, Jalen Coker has finally got the number 2 role, I think. Don't you all think? He should. I wished he'd done this last week when I used him. But
he almost looks like he's got the number 1 role to
me. Yeah. I like Jalen Coker.
And Chuba Hubbard,
Yes.
it seems like that's like a legit 50-50 split, and I don't see it any other way. It's not the Rico Dowdle show. It's not the Chuba show. Kind of a hot hand approach.
It's going to be interesting, like what we talked about a while ago, you all, with the shootout. How many teams with Rico Dowdle is going to get in? How many teams with Chuba Hubbard is going to get in? And which one's going to – that'd be interesting to see when that – I know they always posted on NFFC boards, like how many players is what, but I kind of like to see how that plays out down the stretch.
The Carolina defense had themselves a game. 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and a pick 6. It's not bad.
I will say in that game, Puka had maybe the catch of the year if you didn't see it. That was awesome.
Yes. And the one we forgot to mention a while ago, Treylon Burks had a nice one too.
Of all people.
Yeah.
Nice. Treylon Burks, are we stashing him? Is he a waiver target? No.
If I had 50 roster spots, I still wouldn't stash him.
Nice. Dan, how'd your Scott Fish team do this week? Did you get by?
I'm glad you asked, because the top 1,500 make it. And if you don't believe me, go look at the board right now. I'm in 1,491st place. I'm 9 behind, but I got Wandale tonight.
Yes.
So I think I'll be safe. But just in case, I hope he scores about 70 points in Scott Fish Bowl.
I didn't check to see where I was placed, but I did notice that I'm 22.5 points safe right now. And I believe I have Jackson Dot going.
You're 11-28, Joe.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you for checking.
All you got to do is make the next round, though. It doesn't matter how you do it.
Yeah,
just make
right. I know. And then you go back to your average, which has dropped for me in the past 2 weeks.
Me too. My team's falling apart.
Not by a lot, but I think I went in with 289, and it's like down to like 286 or 287 now. So, I lost myself 3 or 4 points going into next week. But maybe we'll have that 350 point spike week, and we'll be moving on to the next. But yeah, so we're both still alive in Scott Fish. That's good.
Hopefully.
It's 5 past, so why don't we jump right into the Monday night football game? My New England Patriots versus another team that I happen to enjoy because I really like Jackson Dot, and it's the New York Giants. It's in Foxborough. Weather outside right now is probably about 35, 37, 38 degrees, depending on where you are. Foxborough, it's probably a little bit warmer than it is where I'm at. I'm just outside Boston on the coast, so it's a little bit colder on the coast, but I don't think there's much of a breeze. No precipitation, so just a cool New England night. I don't think it's going to affect the passing game. I think Drake May is going to have success moving the ball down the field tonight. It's touchdowns are hard to predict. Patriots touchdowns are really hard because can we get a 4 passing touchdown from Drake May? Maybe. It all depends on how Josh McDaniels feels. Can he throw for 285 passing yards and possibly go without a passing touchdown or just 1 passing touchdown? That certainly can happen. We have 2 running backs that can run the ball in, and we also have Drake May himself who can run the ball in. So it's hard to predict a big spike week for Drake May and as far as passing touchdown goes. But if there is ever going to be a week, I kind of like this one. The Giants are terrible against – they're 31st against quarterbacks. They're 31st against the running back. They're 28th against the wide receiver. they're actually middle of the pack against tight ends. So maybe temper expectations on Hunter Henry tonight. Maybe the Patriots should easily win this game, and he could be the one that gets game planned out. Discussed this last week on the show. I talked about it with Steve through text as well. I think that it's not so much identifying who's going to have the big game for the Patriots. It's who's going to be the decoy, who's going to be phased out. And, last week I kind of had a feeling that was going to be Diggs. This week I think it's going to be Hunter Henry. I did pick 2 player props for this game. One that's part of our parlay is Demario Douglas, 25 plus receiving yards. That's at plus 145 odds on DraftKings. Not sure what you have it on FanDuel. Dan, what you get it at?
I got that at plus 176.
Ooh, even better on FanDuel. So there you go. Demario Douglas, 25 receiving yards. I think he doesn't get on the field, as much as Booty and Diggs, but I think that he's part of the plan tonight. I could see him getting 3 or 4 catches, and if he gets 3 or 4 catches, I think he cracks those 25 yards. It's pretty good after the catch against a crappy defense. And then my anytime touchdown bet, not part of our parlay, this is just throwing it out there, is Theo Johnson anytime touchdown was at plus 270 on DraftKings last time I looked, about half an hour, 45 minutes ago, just before we started the show. So yeah, those are my two player bets tonight. If I had to predict the score of the game, I think the Patriots take it 31-20. So Joe, I'll kick it over to you. Give us your thoughts and share a player prop with us.
I hope we get a high scoring game. I need a lot. I need a good game out of Drake May and Wan'Dale Robinson. But I'm hoping Dart puts up some points so we can get that little bit of shootout here on Monday night. I think the Patriots need to keep they should win the game. I'm hoping that they'll probably win 31-24. But my prop bet is I always use people I'm using every week. So I'm using Wan'Dale Robinson at 70 plus at plus 145, 70 plus receiving yards. So you Wan'Dale people out there, hopefully he has a good game. I know Dan needs him.
FanDuel's plus 154. It's a little bit better on FanDuel too.
Oh, that's good.
It'll work for FanDuel. Just throwing it out there.
It'd be interesting to see if Christian Gonzalez ends up on him. I don't think he does, unless he's out wide. If they're putting Wan'Dale in the slot and lining him up on the inside, I think he avoids Christian Gonzalez. But I think he will have some snaps where he does have to deal with him. And maybe that's why his odds look a little juicier than usual.
That's both of these teams right here you want pieces of next year in fantasy. Of course, the Patriots, but the Giants will be fun pieces to own next year also. Neighbors, Dart, and good fantasy offense to have next year as well.
Nice. All right, Dan, your thoughts on tonight's game and share your player prop, and then if you want to share Steve and Josh's prop as well, you got it all over there with you.
I'm hoping for a higher scoring game, but I think I'm a little lower than you guys. I see a 24-14 kind of game. I think the Patriots cover 7. I see them covering maybe the under. I think the over-under is 46. So I think
it goes over. I think it goes over.
So this is just a gut feeling for my bet. I just know that little mini Belichick, Mike Vrabel, does this kind of shit with running backs and receivers. Ramondre Stevenson's going to score because we all need Travion to score. They're going to get down there. Ramondre's going to get 2 or 3 goal line carries, get a touchdown. That's mine. Josh, he went with Darius Slayton over 2.5 catches, plus 104. Mine was plus 210. That's a 104. I love that one myself. I've always been a big Darius Slayton guy. I think he'll get a couple downfield targets as well. And Steve piggybacked on me a little bit. Stevenson over 27.5 yards rushing. and then he threw in a booty anytime touchdown.
I like that.
So
because yeah.
We got a 6-legger. I threw $10 on it. It pays $2,500. A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Right.
So maybe we'll hit something. But I like how we're telling a little bit of a story, though. So we got a little bit of a Stevenson game, a little bit of a Giants passing game. Makes sense.
Nice. So you'll be posting that on X as usual.
Posting right now. Yep.
There you go for the viewers. Check it out on at Dan Jewett 83 on X. He's gonna post a 6-leg parlay that's between me, Joey, Dan, Steve D'Angelo, and Josh Bowling, who could not be with us tonight. Definitely be back next week. You guys in for next week?
I'm good.
Fantasy football playoff week. Oh, wait, no, that'll be – oh, wait, yeah, it is.
Next Monday, we can talk about how many points we might need to get in or if we're going to try or what. Next one, that's big, too, because I'm hoping Justin Herbert had a successful surgery a while ago. He said he's day-to-day. I need him to play. I've got Chargers going on Monday night to try to come back. So
I just hope we have the news by Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think I have four teams that might end up in the shootout, and then I got one with Steve, the one that Steve and I share, and I think we have second place pretty much locked up. We have a huge cushion between second and third, and there's a huge cushion between first and second. The guy that's in first is like 54th overall. So I don't think we're catching him. So I think it's pretty set. I think we have an 87-point cushion with a week and a half to go on second and third. So I think we locked up second place for that league, which is pretty good. We'll be able to do 2 teams next year. At least that's what 7 on second place pays out $700, and then we'll get into the shootout. We'll have a chance of hitting that big $250K prize at the top. So that'll be another team. I'm hoping to get 4 or 5 teams in that shootout all together. That'd be nice.
You know, I'm telling you, which I know y'all have done it, but to me, the shootout's so much less stress, even though there's more money online. But getting to it is so hard that it's such a grind these 14 weeks. And every league, like you was talking about earlier, it's so important for these viewers, anybody out there, to know their league rules. Like you was talking about how you're going to get into prime time, because you know the record counts, the points count. Everybody needs to know the scoring system, their league setups. I mean, prime time and online championships were the same way. The win-loss record is so important. And if you don't got the points to go with it, I mean, at least you got 2 different ways to get into prime time. So hopefully
you have to finish with the best record, though. Second best record in 7th in points doesn't get you anything. You got to. No,
that's what I'm saying. You have to have a record. You know,
you play everybody in the league once, and then there's a couple of all play weeks at the beginning. Is it 3 all? It's
3. Yeah.
3 all play weeks to start the season. I kind of wish there would be an all play week in week 14 because. Match up.
Like it's the bye weeks is the reason they don't do it.
Yeah,
that makes sense. But I
wish the NFL would get bye weeks off of 14, cut them off at 12.
FFPC is awful in the league champion.
Yeah.
League, and
they
start 12, don't they?
That's for the league though. For the shootout, it's the same.
Yeah.
But for the league, it hurts you if you're trying to win that league prize.
Yeah, it's awful.
You got like Jonathan Taylor on by who's on by like this week. There's some like George Kittle,
Drake May,
George Kittle, Trevion Henderson, Stephon Diggs. Diggs ain't the best, but he's a great floor guy. I mean,
you got Rico Dowdle,
Carolina, the Giants, New England, San Fran. So a lot of fantasy players.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart owner, picked them up and riding them all year, gets them into the playoffs, and now
Wandale's out.
After just missing them out with a couple of weeks with a concussion, you got to miss through for a bye week now.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So game's probably about to kick off, or if it already hasn't. So we're gonna shut it down. We're gonna shut it down for the evening. Joey, Dan, thank you for joining me tonight. This was a great show. Steve popped in, says great show, fellas. Definitely a good show. Love talking football with you guys. Good job Thursday. We all read the Thursday slate pretty good. Pat ourselves on the back. I got myself a cash. We've had one team. We put out the team we put together, finished in the top 15, top 20 percentile. So that's our process was great overall. We all read it pretty well. So hopefully, listeners are getting something from our conversation, winning their fantasy matchups. But I'm going to go enjoy this Patriots-Giants game. I've been looking forward to this all day. Finally get my Patriots on TV. Gonna probably stay up, watch the whole game despite having to work tomorrow. But who cares?
I have to too. I have to watch it.
I was supposed to be off, and then I got a cover for a guy tomorrow. I moved my day off. I was supposed to have Tuesday, Wednesday off. Now it's Wednesday, Thursday. I pushed it back a day to help a coworker out. So hopefully that'll pay off down the line when I need to do it or when I need a day off. So, but all right, fellas, we're gonna get out of here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hit the like button for us if you like the show. If you're not subscribed to the Fantasy Savvy YouTube channel, definitely subscribe. Steve doing good stuff on there week in and week out. We're on here on Monday nights, 7 p.m. We'll see you all next week.